The ruin of Jet Airways, built by Naresh Goyal, yet even he couldn't save it. Imagine a passenger sitting in an airport lounge waiting for an announcement. Jet Airways is written on his ticket, the bag check-in has been done, and he feels that in a short while the flight will be up in the sky. But suddenly news comes that the airline has no money left to fill fuel and run flights. That same Jet Airways, which was once considered India's most premium private airline, was now left standing on the runway. The fear begins right from here. Did such a big airline fall merely due to market competition, or were there such decisions hidden inside it that slowly hollowed it out? And the curiosity is that did Naresh Goyal, who took Jet Airways to the skies, become the very reason for bringing it down to the ground due to his decisions, control and ego? The story of Jet Airways is not like any ordinary company failure. It is the story of a dream that was born in the era of liberalization and changed the identity of Indian aviation. Naresh Goyal understood the nuances of the aviation business from the very bottom. He started with sales and ticketing for foreign airlines, understood passenger behavior, and recognized the opportunity for a private airline in India. On the 1st of April 1992, Jet Airways was incorporated. This was an era when India's economy was opening up, and private players were getting a new path for entry into sectors like aviation. On the 5th of May 1993, Jet Airways started commercial operations. The beginning happened with leased Boeing 737 aircraft, but the ambition was very big, to create a new standard of private service in Indian skies. At that time, air travel was not as common as it is today. Sitting in a plane was a big deal for the middle class, and getting better service from a private airline was a new experience for people. Jet Airways caught this very emotion. The cabin service was polished, focus was on timings, there was a different touch in food and hospitality, and passengers felt that they were sitting in a world-class airline. Slowly, Jet Airways started building trust. Among business travelers, frequent flyers, and premium passengers, Jet's name kept getting stronger. It was becoming not just an airline but a status symbol too. By the mid-2000s, Jet Airways had become a very big name in Indian aviation. In many reports, its domestic market share during that era was stated to be around 40%. When a company has such a large market share, confidence naturally comes to the founder. But sometimes, that same confidence slowly turns into overconfidence. The aviation business looks glamorous from the outside, but is very harsh from the inside. If fuel prices go up, aircraft leases become expensive, the rupee weakens or seats remain empty, the profit immediately comes under pressure. Jet Airways' biggest challenge started when low-cost carriers took entry into the Indian market rapidly. Players like Indigo and SpiceJet changed the game of ticket pricing and operating efficiency. Low-cost airlines made the passenger understand that not luxury, but affordable fare is also important in every flight. In a price-sensitive market like India, this formula worked rapidly. Jet Airways was running on a full-service model. The service was good in it, but the cost structure was also heavy. When the competition gave cheap fares, Jet also kept getting dragged into the fare war. The biggest danger in a fare war is that the passenger likes the discount, but the airline's balance sheet quietly begins to weaken. Revenue decreases, cost remains, and debt begins to rise. In 2007, Jet Airways acquired Air Sahara. This deal is stated to be around 1,450 crore rupees. At that time it was considered a big move for expansion, but later this decision remained highly controversial. An attempt was made to make Air Sahara a low-cost arm under the name Jet Light. The idea was that Jet would keep the premium segment too, and compete in the low-cost market as well. But running two different business models in the same system is not easy. Premium airline culture and low-cost efficiency demand a different discipline from each other. The Air Sahara integration increased financial and operational pressure on Jet. Many aviation observers believe that this deal became a turning point for Jet Airways, from where debt and complexity kept increasing. Jet's international ambitions were also very big. The airline wanted to go on long-haul routes, wanted to attract international passengers, and wanted to create an identity like a global carrier. For this, wide-body aircraft, premium cabins, and an international network were needed. But in international expansion, costs are very high, and it takes time for returns to come. According to some reports, there was more emphasis on premium seating in Jet's aircraft configuration. First class and business class seats do build an image, but if they do not fill consistently, the revenue weakens. In aviation, every seat is money. If the aircraft is going into the air, an empty seat also flies, carrying a cost. Therefore, aircraft layout should be decided by hard mathematics, not an emotional decision. It is said that inside Jet, advisors gave suggestions for practical changes multiple times. Caution was given on the premium-heavy structure, costly expansion and debt, but in founder-led companies the final decision often remains in the hands of a single person. Naresh Goyal's biggest strength was his networking skill, negotiation power and aviation understanding. But that same strength slowly became a weakness when the company became more dependent on founder instinct instead of listening to advice. In many reports, his close observers said that after success, Goyal had become very self-confident. Some people also called it ego because he did not take many warnings seriously. An important point has to be understood here. Every founder has an emotional attachment to their company. But when emotion becomes heavy on decision-making, the business goes into a danger zone. In 2013, Etihad Airways took a stake in Jet Airways. This gave Jet some breathing space, but it was not a permanent cure, because the core problems were still remaining. Jet had the brand, passengers and routes, but the cash flow was becoming weak. In the airline business, cash flow is like oxygen. If oxygen decreases, aircraft begin to come to the ground. Around 2017, reports came to light showing interest in Jet by Delta Airlines. Talk of Tata Group's interest also came up in different reports when the airline was struggling with the crisis. But in such deals, valuation, control and conditions matter a lot. It is said that Naresh Goyal was not comfortable regarding giving up control, and this very hesitation kept making rescue options difficult. The founder feels that the company cannot run without him. But sometimes to save the company, the founder has to step back. In Jet Airways, this very decision could not be taken on time. By the time 2018-19 arrived, the crisis came out in the open. Aircraft lessors started grounding planes due to unpaid dues, employees were troubled by salary delays, and lenders were losing trust in emergency funding. In some reports, it was said that before shutting down, Jet Airways was facing heavy losses every day. The exact number is found in different sources, but the point was clear: cash burn was fast and cash inflow was weak. The breaking of trust of fuel suppliers is a red alert for any airline. If fuel is not received, the aircraft will be left standing on the runway merely as metal. In March 2019, Naresh Goyal and his wife Anita Goyal stepped down from the Jet Airways board. This step was part of the lender's rescue efforts, but by then it was too late. On the 17th of April 2019, Jet Airways suspended its flight operations. This date is counted among the most painful dates of Indian aviation because an iconic airline suddenly disappeared from the sky. For passengers, this was not just a cancelled ticket. For employees, this was a question of livelihood. Pilots, cabin crew, ground staff and vendors all went into uncertainty. The collapse of Jet Airways showed that even a big brand cannot run without cash. Customer love and nostalgia do not become money in the balance sheet when the cost structure has broken down. In June 2019, Jet Airways went into the insolvency process. Lenders hoped that some buyer would come, the airline would revive, and employees would get some relief. In 2021, the 𝐮𝐸𝐿 Consortium's resolution plan was approved. At that time, hope returned to the headlines that Jet Airways might fly again. People remembered the old Jet logo, some employees caught on to hope, and aviation watchers thought that perhaps a familiar name would return to the Indian skies. But revival does not happen just by announcement. Aircraft are needed, money is needed, approvals are needed, staff is needed, slots are needed, and most importantly, commitments of the resolution plan must be fulfilled. The 𝐮𝐿 plan remained entangled in implementation disputes for a long time. Dispute kept going on between lenders and the consortium over conditions, payments and compliance. On the 7th of November 2024, the Supreme Court ordered the liquidation of Jet Airways. The court accepted that the approved resolution plan could not be implemented and liquidation was the only viable path left. This order was practically like the final stamp on the hopes of a Jet Airways revival. The airline that once ruled India's skies now moved toward the process of selling its assets. Parallel to this corporate collapse, Naresh Goyal's personal and legal troubles also kept increasing. In September 2023, the ED arrested him in a money laundering case. The ED's allegation was that misuse and diversion of the amount connected to the loan given to Jet Airways by Canara Bank took place. This is an allegation, and the legal process in court is running on its course. In the CBI FIR and ED case, the names of Naresh Goyal, Anita Goyal, and some former executives came forward. In such matters, until final conviction happens, every charge should be understood only as an allegation. Amid the legal battle, Naresh Goyal's health also became a serious issue. He was stated to have an illness connected to cancer, and bail was demanded on the basis of medical treatment. In May 2024, the Bombay High Court granted him interim medical bail. Later in November 2024, the medical bail was changed into regular relief. During this very period, his wife Anita Goyal passed away from cancer in May 2024. The collapse of the company on one side, the legal case on another side, and then a family tragedy. This story had become very personal. In 2026, a special PMLA court granted Naresh Goyal permission to travel for 4 weeks for medical consultation in London. The court gave this relief keeping in mind the health condition and treatment opinion. This scene is very symbolic. The businessman who once connected thousands of people to the world in flights is now traveling by taking court permission for his own treatment. It is easy to find just one villain in the tragedy of Jet Airways, but the whole story is bigger than this. The aviation market changed, fuel prices changed, low-cost competition increased, and the pressure of debt constantly kept rising. Even then, one cannot escape from the responsibility of leadership decisions. When warnings were there, advisors were there, and investors were showing interest, taking timely action was necessary. Naresh Goyal built Jet Airways, but perhaps that same emotional ownership stopped him from leaving control on time. In business, leaving the chair multiple times is the way to save the company. This lesson is necessary for every entrepreneur. A company can be your dream, but it does not belong only to you. Employees, lenders, customers, and the economy also have a share in it. Debt is also a silent killer. In the beginning, debt gives growth, buys aircraft, opens routes, and increases market share. But at the wrong timing, that same debt suppresses the company. A premium image also works only as long as economics supports it. If the passenger is demanding a discount and the company is bearing a luxury cost, the gap in between turns into a loss. This is exactly what happened with Jet Airways. The brand was strong, the service was memorable, but the company kept falling weak in the race of market efficiency. Airlines like IndiGo adopted a simple and disciplined model: low cost, high efficiency, quick turnaround, and consistent execution. Jet's mixed model could not remain that sharp. The collapse of Kingfisher Airlines in 2012 was a warning that aviation glamour is risky. Jet had the opportunity to learn from that warning, but perhaps confidence pushed caution behind. The place for dissent in company culture is also important. If senior people fear speaking the truth, the uncomfortable truth does not reach the founder. When only those things are heard which the founder wants to hear, the company begins to move away from reality. This lesson is visible very clearly in the story of Jet. Looking from the eyes of the employees, the collapse was the most painful. The people who built the brand for years, gave customer service, and managed flights, suddenly got stuck in the uncertainty of salary and the future. For passengers too, the departure of Jet was an emotional loss. A lot of people considered it India's best full-service private airline. But the market runs on execution, not on emotions. Indian aviation took a big lesson from Jet Airways. In the airline business, discipline is more important than expansion, cost control is more important than pricing, and liquidity is more important than market share. Liquidation means that now an attempt will be made to give recovery to creditors by selling the remaining assets of the company. This is a very different and painful stage from the revival dream. Therefore, when someone says that Jet Airways has breathed its last, he does not talk just about a company. He talks about the ending of an era. Saying Naresh Goyal's story is just a failure story would be unfair too. He shaped Indian aviation, made the private flying experience better, and built a powerful brand. But accountability is equally necessary. Great founders also take wrong decisions, and when the impact of those decisions falls on thousands of lives, history looks at them with a harsh eye.
If this video has taught you something new, or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible, but in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.